Well, folks, here we are, another kitchen cookout that's going to end up on the grill. So today we're going to cook some spare ribs, and we're going to cook these on our Pit Boss 1600 Elite pellet grill. And we're going to do this pretty easy. This is not a hard recipe to do. So if you're looking to do a simple rib cookout for your friends, family, football season's right upon us, so everybody's going to be looking for some good food to eat. Well, today we're going to do some ribs, and that will probably be a winner at any of your events, I'm sure. So what we're going to do today is season these up real good and let them rest for about 30 minutes. And in the meantime, we're going to go get the Pit Boss ready, and then we'll put them on there. So, but first, as you can see, I have two nice racks of ribs here, and I've already trimmed these ribs up, and I've already peeled off the membrane on the back of them. You can go to your local butcher, and if you're in a good relationship with him, your butcher will probably do this for you if you ask them. They're usually really helpful. So what I trimmed off today, as you can see, was a pretty good amount of leftover, but this is not going to go to waste because you can do one or two things. You can do many things with this. One of the two things I do with this is I will grind this into sausage on another day, or I will put it in a pork and chicken jambalaya, which will probably be another one of my cookouts in the future. So we don't ever throw this type of stuff away because there's no need in wasting that much kind of meat. But we did have to remove it from our ribs. And on your spare ribs, when you get towards the end of them, they get real thin. And what will happen is they'll cook a little bit too fast than the rest of the rib will. So you'll wind up having an uneven overall cook on the ribs. So it's always best to trim them off, and of course to get the membrane off the back of them. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do to start out, we're going to flip these over on the back side. And today we're using some very simple rubs. We're going to start out with black pepper, and we're going to add some Zatarain's garlic and herb seasoning. This will give these ribs a lot of zest, a lot of flavor, not necessarily a lot of heat because we're not trying to do heat today. We are going to gear this towards a little bit of sweet heat, but these will actually be a little more like flavor than heat. And then of course we're using some honey hog rub from Meat Church. And this is a very good product. It's very good on ribs. I've watched Matt with Meat Church use this many times, and it is a great rub. It is very good to try. So let's get started here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some pepper on it. We're going to lightly hit these in the back with some pepper. Okay. Just a nice little coating there. All right. Then we're going to go with our Zatarain's garlic and herb seasoning. All right. Now, a lot of people will use a mustard base binder and slather their ribs with to help hold the seasoning onto the ribs. But these type ribs, they're going to do just fine. They're going to hold together really well. We really don't need to put a binder on it. And you're asking, what is a binder? A binder is what you would use strictly to help hold the seasoning to the meat. And a lot of people use mustard. You can use olive oil. You could use several different things. One of the most popular things to use is mustard. But don't worry, the mustard won't have any effect on the overall taste of the meat. It will cook off of there. You won't even know it's there. Okay, now got the seasoning on here. We're going to finish up with the honey hog barbecue. We're going to put a nice little coat on there. Nice and even as we can. Now the proper way to do this is to season each side and let it rest for about 30 minutes. Well, I'm going to push through that a little bit. We're going to pat these in real good with our hand. We're going to push them down. Now we're doing the back side first. And now I'm going to flip them over to the meat side. Then we're going to do the same thing again. We go with our pepper. Now on this side, I'll use a little bit more pepper. Okay, and then we'll come on with our Zatarain's garlic and herb seasoning. And this is going to give this so much flavor on these ribs. And the simple smell out of this, just out of the container, is just unbelievable. This is garlic and herb seasoning. It's made by Zatarain's. It's a local company in out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And as you know, I try to use Louisiana products as much as I can, but there are some great other products from all over the United States that other people make, so I have no problem using those either. All right, so we're going to finish up with a nice coating of the Honey Hog barbecue seasoning. Now you don't really need to add salt to this. You have enough salt that are in these two alone to give it sufficient enough salt. And of course you want to get the ends. Get the ends a little bit. Everybody gets a bite, right? Okay. Everybody's going to get a little bit of seasoning. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we've got these all seasoned down good. And they're going to add a nice color to it when these get on the grill and they start cooking. You're going to see how beautiful they're going to look. I just need to even this up a little bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do, now we didn't let the other side rest for the 30 minutes, but we are going to let this side rest on the meat side. We're going to let this rest for about 15 to 30 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to get the pellet grill ready and get that up to temperature. We'll be cooking at 275 degrees today. And you're looking at about a 4 to 4.5 hour cook. Of course, you can raise your temperature up a little higher if you want to cook them a little faster, but you want to, 275 is a really good temperature to cook them at because it doesn't take quite as long. You can cook them as low as 250. It's just going to take a little bit longer to do that. But you need to know going into this, these type of cooks with ribs, it's about a 4 to 4.5 hour cook. And so if you want to speed that up a little bit, raise your temps. If you got all day and not in a hurry, lower it to 250. But we're going to kind of go in between today. We're going to go to 275 and get them cooked up that way. So I'm going to go get the pit grill ready, and I'll see you out at the grill in about 30 minutes. Okay guys, we're back outside at the grill. We're waiting on the pit boss to come up to temp. We've got our pork ribs sitting inside, curing up, getting ready to go to put on the pit. So in the meantime, I want to show you guys something else that will enhance your smoked meats on your grill. Even if you don't have a smoker or a smoker type grill, you can even use this on a gas grill. And what we have here, it's called a smoke tube. Now this one I've used several times, so it's a little dingy. They're made out of stainless steel. And what you do with these is, with what I do with them, is I use the same pellets that I use in my pellet grill, which today I'm using a hickory blend pellets by Pit Boss. So anyway, So what you do is you take some of these pellets and you put them in this tube. And what you're going to want to do is light the tube and let it flame up and then blow it out and it'll start smoking. Now there's a couple of ways you can light this. You can use one of those fireplace starters. You can use a mini torch. Or what I do is I use a heat gun. And I'll put the heat gun on top of it and I'll show you guys how to do it. So let me get this thing up to speed. Now what I'll do is set this on the ground and light it, of course. So let me move the camera down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is set it on the concrete, and I've got my heat gun getting up to temperature. Okay, I'm going to use an oven glove. Just to keep from getting my hands burned. You want to keep this away from you if you decide to use a heat gun though. So all you do is you hold this on here, put it in the top and let it sit. Now this will take just a minute. So it's starting to get hot. You can already smell it. It's going to start smoking first, and then it's going to flame up. And that's what we're looking for. And like I said, you can use a fireplace fire starter or a little mini blowtorch or whatever you have. This seems to be the pretty easiest to do. You just have to be patient with it. And when it starts smoking, it's getting ready to catch on fire. So then when it does that, you just have to pull the heat gun back a little bit. And here it comes. It's starting to smoke now. Okay, and there it goes. It's catching fire. So those wood pellets are lighting up. So we're just going to keep it going for a little longer. We want to make sure that it's lit really well. So we're going to keep our heat gun on it. We're going to move it up a little bit. And there you go. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to let it burn for a few minutes. So all those pellets will get to burning really good. And just give it a little bit of time. and it's starting to catch the ones on fire further down in there. You want to get most of them lit before you blow the flame out. And once you blow the flame out, it's going to start smoking really good, and this is, at this point, is where you're going to want to put it in your pit. So we're getting about that time. I'm going to put my other oven glove on. These are 500-degree oven gloves. I would recommend getting something like this, or maybe a welder's glove, or some oven mitt, something that's pretty good, and you want to pick it up from the bottom, of course, but it's going to be hot. Okay. Now, as you can see, the flame's going down a little bit, and it may go out on its own, and that's okay if it does, because the pellets are starting, and they're going to start smoking really good when I blow it out, or if it goes out on its own. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and blow it out. I can see that enough of them have started, and they're burning really good, so I'm going to blow it out. And this is when the smoke starts. And as you can see, this is really a lot of smoke. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it, and I'm going to pull my camera back up so you can see. So I'm going to take it over to the pit boss. We're going to get it opened up, and we're going to place it, this one, in the back corner of the pit. It's off to the side. Now this smoke, when I close it down, it'll go get all inside the pit. It'll cover everything real nice with smoke. This will get on your meat, and this will actually make your barbecue taste even much better because you're adding more smoke to it. Most guys will use these even in a smoker to get extra smoke if they desire. So, but this will work really well on the pit boss. And I'm looking at the temp, and we're almost up to temp. So in just a minute, I'm going to be back out, and we're going to put the ribs on, and we're going to get ready. So I'll see you in just a minute. So okay, folks, we're back out at the grill. We've got the pit boss up to 275 degrees. We're going to open it up. We've got our smoke tube. Woo, it's getting it. It's doing its job. So now it's time to put on our ribs. And look at these things. They're absolutely beautiful. So we're going to set one here. Now the fire pots on a lot of these pellet grills are in the middle. So we're going to set one on each side of it. So we're going to put one on that side, and we're going to put one on this side. You can firm them up. Make sure they're sitting well. We got our smoke tube going. Now, I don't know if I can pick it up. There we go. So I'm going to put the smoke tube in the middle between them. Close the lid down, and it should distribute the smoke a little bit more evenly. But it's all looking good. Okay, we're going to get it closed down. And we're going to set our timer for an hour and a half. In an hour and a half, we're going to come back and check them and see if they need to be spritzed. Spritzing is done by squirting water or something on them to keep them from drying out too fast on top. I use apple cider vinegar and mix with a little water. You can just use plain water, or you can even use apple juice. Either one's fine. The main thing you're doing is you're going to spritz them to keep them from drying out too fast. So I'll show you that a little bit later. When the hour and a half comes up, I'll show you then. All right, we'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, so our hour and a half timer has gone off. So we're back out at the pit. We're going to check and see what the ribs are looking like. So let's check them out and see. Oh yeah, they're looking really nice. They're really starting to brown up. They're starting to get a little bit dry on top. So we're going to take our, we're going to get them a little spritz here so they don't dry out too much. Let's touch them up a little bit. I'm using apple cider vinegar and water, so I'm using 50-50. You can use just water if you like, or whatever you like, even apple juice. The smoke tube is still putting out plenty of smoke. This thing has been rolling with smoke today, so it's been doing really good. All right, so we're going to close these down. We're going to set our timer for an hour and a half, and we're going to come back and check on these again, and they should start getting ready to be done. When they get to a temperature of about 170, somewhere up in there, I'm going to pull them out and I'm going to wrap them in foil, and then we're going to put them back on the grill. So I'll see you guys in the kitchen next, and we'll wrap these things up and get them back on the grill, and then they should be done in just a little while after that. Okay guys, so we're back. So I ran the ribs up until about 2 hours and 10 minutes. And I probed them. They probed out at about 171, 173 degrees. They browned up real nice. They look beautiful, as you can see. So now we're going to bring them in the kitchen here, and we're going to wrap them up. Now I'm going to show you how I wrap them. This particular recipe is we're going to do a little brown sugar and some butter. Now let me show you how we're going to do this. So we have our foil paper out, and we're going to take a little bit of brown sugar, and we're going to sprinkle some brown sugar in the middle of the foil, just about the length of the ribs. It doesn't have to be a lot, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So we'll get a little bit of that down. Okay. A little bit there and there. Now these ribs are seasoned up pretty good, so we're going to add a little sweet to them to get that sweet heat, savory type taste that I'm trying for. So we got our brown sugar down, and now we're going to add 4 pats of butter. All right. So now what we're going to do, I put my glove on. So we're going to take our ribs, each one at a time. So we're going to put them meat side down now. We're going to place them on top of the brown sugar and butter, like so. Okay, let me set this off to the side. And then we're going to wrap them. Fold them over half. Get them all wrapped up here. All right. Wrap them good and tight. Get a good wrap on them. Okay. Get them nice and tight in there. Now you want to use 2 strips of foil to wrap them in, because every now and then a bone might try to stick through, or you might damage it trying to set it on and off the grill, and that'll make sure that the juices all stay in there together. So we got this one done. So we're going to do our other one. Get my paper lined up. All right. And again, we're going with the brown sugar. And you can put as much as this you want. There's really no recipe. If you cook enough and experiment with outdoor grilling with all these different kinds of meats, try different things. Over time, you'll learn what works best and what tastes best for you. This is something I've been using for a while, and it's what works great for me. And so far, I don't have any complaints from the family or friends. So, all right, I got a couple of extra pieces. Get off of there. All right, so we got that. All right, we got our other rib. Remember, meat side down. Okay. And actually, I can take these gloves off now. Get these wrapped up. Okay, so we got a nice tight wrap on them. So there you are. So we're going to go back out to the grill, and we're going to put these on the grill until they finish cooking. We're looking for a temperature of around 203, 205, somewhere up in there, no more than 208 degrees. But we're not necessarily looking at that. We're looking for them to get that certain tenderness that we're looking for. So we'll probe them and check them for tenderness as well as temperature. So I'm going to head out to the grill, set these back on the pit balls, and let them finish up cooking. And when I see you again, we'll be back in here at the table. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay guys, we're back in the kitchen. We got the ribs off of the pit balls. They sit on there for about another hour, about an hour and 15 minutes. And I probed them on and off in between that next hour several times. And I probed them, like I said, for tenderness and for doneness. And we got them at the 203, 205 mark in different places. So we knew they're done, and they were tender. Oh, when I probed them for tenderness, they just went through like melted butter. So I know these ribs are done. So we have one more thing left to do. We're going to, let me get my gloves on. We're going to open these ribs up, and we're going to flip them over. And we're going to baste them with some barbecue sauce. We'll get these on, and then we'll get going. All right, so let's get them opened up. Oh man, they smell delicious. Now what I'm going to do is take the same foil that we had them wrapped in, and I'm going to make a little boat out of it first. And I don't know if y'all can hear that, but in true Louisiana fashion in the afternoon, it's raining. So we have thunder, lightning, and rain. It's not going to stop me though. Okay, we're going to make us a little boat out of these. I don't want to lose any of that juice. And I really don't want all this juice going down in my pellet grill either. Try to keep it as clean as we can. All right, let me just get them both opened up and make a quick boat out of them. All right. So now we got our boat made. And take a look at these ribs. Now these ribs, remember, before we put them on the grill, we put our brown sugar and butter and laid the meat side down on them. And they've been in the grill for over an hour. And I want you to just take a look at those. And look, these things are absolutely incredible. Just absolutely beautiful. You got a good pull back on the bones. That tells you these ribs are absolutely done. So we're gonna flip these over. Just look at this. Just absolutely incredible. The smell is, oh my goodness, you just don't know. All right, we got these over. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna dry my hands off a little bit. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put some barbecue sauce on them. We're gonna glaze them with some barbecue sauce, set them back on the pit balls for about 5 or 10 minutes and let that barbecue sauce glaze over on them, get a nice little coat on them, and then these things will be ready. Now today, we're using Meat Mitch's Womp sauce, barbecue sauce. This is a very, very good barbecue sauce. It's not too overpowering. It's got a good mix of flavor in it. I really like it. If you want to try it, just remember Meat Mitch barbecue sauce. You can look it up. I'll try to put it in I'll probably try to tag it in this video for you guys to try, but this is some really good stuff. All right, so we got some poured up. We're just going to baste them up real good. Now, of course, you can use any barbecue sauce you like. It doesn't have to be this. You can use your favorite. You know, one thing about cooking barbecue, you get to do what you like. You get a lot of tips from a lot of great people that know a lot more about cooking than me. And you go with their stuff, and then, but you know, most of us people who barbecue, we get our barbecue skills from usually from our parents, our mom, or most of the time our dad. Maybe it was an uncle or somebody, maybe a cousin that taught you how to grill. You know, it seems like when we were younger, we was always going to barbecues at one particular person's house, right? So there's a lot of good memories for most of us when it comes to backyard barbecues. And if you're doing it now and you have your own family, then you're making memories yourself. And another thing you want to do with this is get your kids involved in it. There's nothing more fun than teaching your kids how to do the backyard barbecues. Get them involved in it. Even if it's just a little bit here, a little bit there, get them involved in it. They'll absolutely love it, and they'll remember that forever. And when their turn comes to be the head grill master, they will remember back and they'll tell the same stories like I'm telling now. So always get your kids involved in your activities as much as you can, especially anything that has to do with outdoor cooking, where you have friends and family over. This is really a lot of fun to do. Okay, guys, we've got that all done. Let's take a look at those. They're basted up real well. We got our little foil boat. Now I'm going to go back out to the pit boss, and we're going to set them on there for about 5 to 10 minutes and let that barbecue sauce glaze over and set in good. And then we'll come back in and we'll cut these ribs up and they'll be ready to eat. So I'll see you back in here in just about 5 or 10 minutes. Be right back. Okay, y'all, we got the ribs off of the pit. They got a nice glaze to them from the Mitch's Won't sauce, barbecue sauce. And just as you can see, they just look incredible. These things are just, the smell is just unbelievable. So now there's only one thing left to do is cut into these things and get them plated up and let's eat. So I'm gonna get my gloves on. All right, I don't think I need my heated gloves, so let me just put these on. Now these things have been sitting out for about 15 minutes, you know, which is a good idea to let them rest for at least 15 minutes. So all right, we got them right here. We're gonna pull this one out. Set this over here to the side for a minute. And take a look at these ribs, y'all. Just look at it. You got about a 1/4 inch pullback on the bone, if you can see that. That's another indication that tells you that the ribs are ready. As well as you probe them for tenderness to see how tender they are. And on top of that, you can also probe them for temp. So that's 3 good ways to look at them. So we're gonna cut them up now. Now some of these ribs, the bones kind of run sideways a little. They don't always run straight. So if you find it hard to cut them, sometimes just flip them over to the non-meat side and you can see them a little bit easier over there, and it makes it a little bit easier to cut. All right, so we're going to cut into these. I can start right here. Oh, look how easy that cuts. We're going through them. A little bit of bone on that one. These things smell incredible. They're so tender. Now there's a little bit of bone that I didn't cut out, so I'm going to might run across a little tough spot, but I'll get it through. The meat part is absolutely incredibly tender. So here we go. Some of these are kind of small. I'll just double them up. They won't go to waste. All right, guys, take a look at this. You got a nice smoke ring flavor. The sauce is just incredible on it. These things are really good. I'll pick another one to look at. It's absolutely juicy. You can see the juice in it. I really don't like to squeeze the juice out of them, but goodness gracious, look at the juice in them. These things are absolutely delicious. So there's only one thing left to do now, like I said, and that's plate them up and eat them. My family is inside doing the little dance. You know, they're like tapping your feet, like, come on, Dad, come on, Dad. So I got to get going. I'm going to put these back in this foil. That way I can wrap them up a little bit, keep them warm. And then I'm going to cut this other one up. I'll cut the other one up and set it in there too so everybody can enjoy them. So, all right, guys, well, that wraps it up for this cook. I just want to recap a little bit. So we had spare ribs. I trimmed them up, cut the fat off of them, peeled the membrane off of them, and we seasoned them up. We used honey hog seasoning from Meat Church, and we used Zatarain's garlic and herb spice, and then we came back and put used brown sugar with a little butter on it, flipped them over, set it on that, wrapped them up back on the grill. They sat on the grill till they were probe tender and temperature ready. Pulled them back off. Went with the Meat Mitch Womp sauce, glazed over the top, back on the grill for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Pull them back out, let them rest for about 15 minutes, and then sliced them up, and that's how we got to where we are now. So try this and see how you like it. Use your own seasoning. You can use what I use today. It'll work just as fine too. But I'm sure you have seasonings, as most of you do at your house, that you like to use. Try them out. That's how you learn how to do it, and that's how you learn how to get things the way you absolutely love. So once again, this is John for Southern Exposure, and we'll see you next time.